Hello, and welcome to the Pandemic Pantry. A friend of mine was watching this channel and commented to me that all of the food was looking a little monochromatic. He was right, and so I'm going to take things in a different direction, away from the sourdough and on to interesting cookbooks. This is my first video in a new theme of following recipes from various cookbooks that I've collected over the years. A lot of these are cookbooks that I picked up while traveling, so we'll get a chance to see the variety of foods out there and maybe get some inspiration along the way. Our first cookbook is named Swedish Cooking. I picked it up, unsurprisingly, during a visit to Stockholm. And the first recipe that we'll make from it will add some color to this channel. Ribboned vegetable paté. And I'm not going to damage anyone's ears by trying to pronounce the Swedish name. We're going to be making 3 layers of vegetables that have been finely chopped and bound together with egg. All in all, this is actually pretty simple, but it does take some time. Our first task is to get all of our veggies prepped for cooking. We need 1 kilo of fresh spinach, washed and ready for blanching. This is a huge volume of spinach, so I'm working in batches. Pull out each batch, give it a good rinse, and then back in the bag until we're ready to cook. Repeat that same process for each one of your remaining batches. Next up is about 400 grams of carrots. These carrots will need to be cleaned up, so topped and tailed, and then peeled so that they're all ready for a long bath in some boiling water. Don't worry about little blemishes, they just come off with the peeler. And once we've got the carrots, then we need to move on to our 400 grams of parsnips. Now, those also need to be cleaned and peeled. And there were only these monsters at the shop. And one of the problems with large parsnips is that they start to get a bit woody in the center and sponge-like on the outside. I decided to cut off some of the spongy bits as they don't have that creamy texture that we really want. The parsnips and carrots need to be boiled for about 20 minutes, so put them separately in pots of water and let them simmer until soft enough for easy mashing. In the meantime, get another pot of water going to blanch the spinach. You'll also need a strainer of some sort to get the spinach back out of the boiling water, and a large bowl of cold water to cool off the spinach after its hot bath. Take each batch of spinach and put it into the hot water, nearly boiling, but not fully boiling, and after about 30 seconds, the spinach should change color to a vibrant, deep green. Pull it out and put it into the cold water bowl. Give it a swish around to cool it off, and stop the cooking process. Then strain the spinach out of the cold water and put it to the side. I just use this other small bowl that will keep the cooked spinach in while we're working on the rest of our batches. And now refresh the cold water, and let's repeat this process for the rest of the spinach. And voila, our mountain of spinach has turned into a much more manageable size. But we're not done yet. Oh no, not in the slightest. There's still a lot of water that we need to get out of that spinach. So let's start out with just draining off the excess water that is collected in the bowl. Once that's gone, we can start putting the squeeze on. Get your hands in there, give it a good squeeze. It's not often that you get to throttle your spinach, so go ahead, let out some aggression. And we still aren't done. Now get a cloth and put the spinach inside that cloth and just start squeezing out as much liquid as you can. You know what? A halyard shanty might make this work a little easier. Let's try it out. King Louis was the king of France before the revolution. Away, haul away, we'll haul away, Joe. But then he got his head cut off, it spoiled his constitution. Away, haul away, we'll haul away, Joe. Yeah, that seems to have helped. Look at how dry our little puck of spinach looks. That is what we're aiming for. If we leave too much water in, the loaf will turn out soggy, and nobody wants a soggy loaf. And after all that work, we're still not quite done. So now we need to chop up the spinach and then mix in some ingredients to hold it all together. So a few spins in the food processor will get it chopped up a bit. Because it's so dry, don't expect that it'll chop too well at this point. Now add in about 2 teaspoons of potato flour. And then 3 tablespoons of cream. You can also use creme fraiche for this if you want. I thought, let's try the clean flavor of just straight cream. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1 egg. Just cracked right on in. And a good amount of ground nutmeg. Yep, keep going. Spinach loves nutmeg, so don't be shy. All right. Then let's blitz all that together. There it goes. Excellent. After we put all of this together, the loaf will still need to be baked, so grease up really, really well a loaf pan or any other similar baking dish that you'd like to use. Nicely greased. All right, now we spread the spinach evenly along the bottom. Get all of that spinach in there. We put a lot of work into this spinach, don't want to lose any of it. Yep, no air pockets. Nice even top. Perfect. Now set that to the side once you're done. And it is time to work on our carrots and parsnips. They should be ready by now. We have to go through pretty much the same procedure again, 2 more times. I suggest giving the carrots and parsnips a cold bath to cool them off. Otherwise, you'll end up with a fairly uncomfortable experience squeezing them. Or maybe you've worked in a kitchen for a long time and you have hands of iron. I don't. This hurt. Cool your carrots. Learn from my mistake. So, in this case, we're just going to go straight into the cloth and try to squeeze this up. Yeah, they're a little hot, aren't they? Break them up a little. That'll make it easier. All right. Yep, they're still a little too hot. Let's cool them off. Just running them under cold water for now. It helped some, but I think just letting them cool and maybe soak in cold water for a little bit might be better. They needed more time than that. Believe me. All right, we might be ready now. So we squeeze, and we squeeze, and we cool, and we squeeze. You might decide to sing another verse or two of Haul Away Joe, but that's up to you. And now we've gotten to the point of nice, dry carrots. Into the food processor it all goes, and we'll puree this in the same way that we did the spinach. This one will puree a lot better just because it's not quite as dry. But don't overdo it. We want kind of mashed carrots. We don't want carrot soup or carrot juice. Lid on. And blitz it up a bit. Look at that. It's beautiful. All right. In this case, now we need a teaspoon of potato flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, about 1/8 of a teaspoon or so, I went a bit higher, pepper's nice too, of white pepper, and then 3 tablespoons of cream. And then, of course, with all of that, we still need our 1 egg. So let's just get that egg in there. All right. Now, we spin that right round, baby, right round. And isn't that a really nice orange? I'm so glad that the Dutch gave us some colorful food. What would this channel be without that? Okay, there we have our layer, and now it's layer that on top of our spinach. And once that's all done, put it to the side, and just like we're in Groundhog Day, we need to do all of this again, this time with the parsnips. Same measures this time as the carrots for all the ingredients. Cool, cool, all right. We squeeze, we chop, we put in an egg, we put in our potato flour, some salt, some white pepper, a bit of cream, and blitz. And now we layer it out. And there it goes. Looks a bit like a cake at this point, doesn't it? All right, this still needs to cook. It's assembled, but needs to cook some more. So the cream in the egg means that we really are working with a layered vegetable custard, and baking it will get that to set. So cover it tightly and bake it on 175 degrees Celsius for about an hour. After an hour, pull it out and let it cool. Once it's cool, we can flip it out onto a plate. And it will just go onto that plate, and beautiful. Oh. Huh. Okay, it's stuck. Nope, not moving. All right, let's try cutting around the edges and try this again. That's doing fine. That's okay. All right. Okay. Flip it out onto a plate and oh, come on. Ta-da! Oh, we lost some of it. All right, never mind. A spoon and some careful arranging, and your dinner guests will never know. Dinner guests? Who am I kidding? At times like this, I don't think there's any dinner guests. So just make it look however you want it to look. Now, I'll admit, when I made this, I wasn't sure how it was going to taste. Now that I've had it, though, I can say that I'm a fan. It is excellent with a little sauce, and I'll show that in the next video. So stick around, subscribe, and you'll get notified when the next one is ready. This has been the Pandemic Pantry. Stay safe.